Hello and welcome everyone, Lionheart here, and today I am reviewing the Gamdias Aries gaming keyboard. Many thanks to Gamdias who sent me this keyboard, a headset and a mouse to review. I've had them for quite a while, haven't had a chance to get around to them, but I am finally getting back into reviewing and getting through kind of a backlog of reviews. And we're kicking things off having a look at Gamdias. And actually this is quite poignant because Gamdias was one of the first companies that actually kind of replied to me about a year and a half ago when I actually started looking into getting into doing some gaming gear, gaming tech reviews. So they sent me a keyboard, the Aries, which we're taking a look at in this video. They also sent me an updated version, a V2 version of one of their headsets, and a gaming mouse. So I'll be having a look at those over the next couple of days and releasing videos for you guys. So I will link in the description of each of these though my reviews for the kind of first round of products that they sent me about a year ago basically. So it'll be interesting to see what things have changed, where these products come into their existing line. Now Gamdias, for those of you who don't know, gaming art in motion, and obviously their names, they're the god of games and things like that. So they're really trying to promote a premium, high quality feel that will enable you to become a gaming god. I remember that being one of the conversations I had with one of them via email when I first chatted to them ages back. But yeah, this is one of their cheaper keyboards. Now actually I don't know whether I've just not been able to find the right listing in the UK, but it seems quite hard to actually find a listing in the UK for this. But I have found one or two sites and I will link them below. So you can actually get this at around about £30. For those of you in the States, it is available on Amazon. I couldn't find this on Amazon though in the UK, but in the States it's $44. So this comes at kind of the lower end of gaming keyboards. It's a non-mechanical, so it's a rubber membrane based keyboard. So for those of you that don't like the loud clacky clicky noises of mechanical keyboards, this may well be for you, but also those of you that are on a tighter budget and looking for a decent keyboard that will do the job when you're first starting out, or to replace a really nice premium keyboard that you happen to may have spilt lots of things on. And we'll come back to that later on. Anyway, customary with my reviews, goodbye box. Hello product. This is the Gamdias Aries, and as you can see it is a backlit keyboard, although with the lighting in my room today, the only light that you're really able to see is the one saying that the numpad is on. But I do have some shots coming up, and you'll see some shots that I took earlier where I used my dark area of my room, which is basically under my desk, to try and show off the lighting of this keyboard. This has the 16.8 million different colour combos that you can do, again using their Hera software, which you can download from their website. But this is the Aries. So no external kind of ports out the back. The last gaming keyboard I reviewed from them was a mechanical keyboard called the Hermes, aptly named as the Messenger, and that actually had some extra USB ports and audio out ports, I think actually at this end of the keyboard. But obviously this is their kind of cheaper non-mechanical keyboard. This is kind of entry level into their gaming keyboard range. So, you know, they're not adding in all the optional extras, which would obviously increase the price. So you're probably thinking, Lionheart, what is this across the front of it? It looks like a cover. Well, actually, yes, it is. It is a keyboard cover for the Aries, but it also doubles, and they've done this with their Hermes before, and I actually think this is quite clever. It also doubles as the palm rest. So you just snap it in. There's two magnets, one at each end. Probably could do with one in the middle, to be honest, but it just clips on with magnets. Obviously me holding it up in the air, the magnets aren't strong enough to hold it there, but when you're on desk it will clip on nicely. You know, you'd have to use a fair bit of force to take it away. You shouldn't do that in any gaming session. Obviously it extends it, makes it a large keyboard, so if you don't need a palm rest, you can simply leave it away and put it over the keyboard when you're done gaming. It actually helps protect it from all the dust going in there if you like a nice clean keyboard. My brother had actually been using this, and I had to give it a good dust out because he had not been using this as a dust cover. He'd been using it as the palm rest and not putting it on when he was done. Silly boy. But yeah, I quite like that feature. Something I should say about Gamdias as well is when they first contacted me, they did sort of say that one of their goals was to kind of try and bring new things into the peripherals market, because obviously there's a fair few gaming companies, you know, some of them well known, some of them not so well known, and it must be quite difficult for a new company or companies that have been around a while to try and reinvent you know, the traditional products in a new way, or add things to them that haven't been done before. And just little things like this, Gamdias do quite well across most of their products actually that I've reviewed in the past, of adding something a little bit different, or just something useful that, you know, maybe isn't necessarily there before. So I mean, I quite like that cover. I think it works well. Obviously, you know, it's kind of doesn't take any extra space up if you're going to use it as the palm rest. If you're going to use one of those ergonomic foam pad palm rests, then maybe you'll need to just pop this under your desk or something like that. But always good to pop back on as a dust cover when you're done. So I quite like that. It's got up to 23 anti-ghosting key rollover, so you can press up to 23 keys at the same time and it shouldn't have any conflict. So that's quite useful. It's got 9 macro keys as well. As you can see, 3 down the side there and 6 along the bottom. Now I quite like these, and I like the positioning of these. And they're not the only company that do this with their macro keys, but having them on the side means that you can reach them with your little finger, or you know, your WASD fingers, and you can easily stretch over to those, reaching them for, you know, it's not too much of a strain to quickly jump over there to access a menu or whatever you want to bind that to. Now the ones that I really do like are the ones directly under the spacebar, because that is where thumb power comes into play, and you can actually reach all 3 of those keys down there with the power of your thumb. With a little stretch. Might seem a little bit awkward at first, but actually I found that quite useful for things like Battlefield, but quickly, you know, throwing extra weapons, or a quick melee attack or something like that. It's quite useful. You also have these ones over here to the left of, just slightly to the left of the arrow keys. Again, quite useful for games when you're primarily using those arrow keys rather than WASD. But yeah, so pretty much that's all to show you about the keyboard itself. It's obviously got a USB cable to it. This obviously goes to a USB out. It's military grade, and again, like their previous products, the end of it is gold plated for extra protection and all that. Now I want to flip over to the back, because this is actually again where they've added in some cool little features which I didn't really expect them to do in their entry level. You know, it's a cheap gaming laptop essentially. You know, for £30, it's not a top of the range. It's not, you know, meant to be necessarily packed full of features, but it's got some nice little bits to it. So obviously you have your rubber feet kickers, which can obviously, you know, adjust the height a little bit for you there. But what it does have are these grooves at the back, which are meant for your mouse or any other cables you have trailing across your desk. Acts as a bit of cable management. You've actually got a groove coming in at the top here that goes all the way along and out the other side. So if you do have cables running across your desk normally, you can actually hide them underneath your keyboard, and the grooves are quite deep, so you know, you get the quite thick cables in there as well. But obviously you can put your mouse through that as well if you wanted to, or headset cabling and things like that. And so just adding that in, I quite like that. I think that's quite clever, and I like the fact they've included that. Now, it does also say on the box, and I haven't tested this out, and for good reason, I didn't want to break it, but apparently this is kind of 4 times better, or more resistant to spillages on the keyboard, and it's got some drainage holes on it somewhere, but for the light... Oh, here we go, actually I can see them. Yeah, I was looking for the screw holes earlier. These 4 holes along the bottom are the drainage holes. Now, I don't know, maybe maybe if I don't want to give this away or something like that, maybe I'll do a spill test on this. But apparently that helps to reduce spillages, and it's very resistant to any kind of accident. So if you're prone to perhaps throwing a beer or a Coke or whatever, energy drink, whatever you happen to be doing while you're gaming across your keyboard, then this actually might save you having to buy a new one. Obviously I haven't tested that out, but yeah, it does seem like a nice little feature. Again, Gamdias throwing in, you know, essentially they've drilled holes through their keyboard, but you know, nobody, can't think of other manufacturers that necessarily do that to help reduce spillages, so that's quite clever. Should also say, well, it is a rubber membrane keyboard, and the normal build-up of one of those is kind of a 3-layer system. This has an extra 4th layer to make it a little bit more solid, and I should say, I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of flex to it, but it's a £30 keyboard. But there's not too much, it's pretty reasonable. I can't, you know, I could probably get a few good whacks over someone's head with this before I do some damage to it. So yeah, weapon of choice in the zombie apocalypse, maybe grab one of these if you can't afford something more meaty. Anyway, the software for the Gamdias Aries is obviously its Hera software. You can download that from its website. Through that you can change all the macros, all the lighting, and the software as a whole is actually nice. It's pretty. However, I did find that it was very prone to crashing, and often the best way for me to actually use it was to load it up, leave it for a minute or two to kind of settle in, and then it would load up the right profile and it'd be good to go. So it's not really necessarily a very quick software program that you can just jump straight on into. I should say though that when I did plug the keyboard in, it automatically came up saying that there was a firmware update, and the firmware went straight through. The update was very quick to quickly update over to the keyboard from the software, and I have no issue with that at all. And actually it was a very painless experience to quickly update the firmware, and obviously it downloaded the Aries profile from the Gamdias website as well. So that's where I'm going to wrap up this review of the Gamdias Aries keyboard. Don't forget to check out the links in the description for my other Gamdias reviews, both past and hopefully upcoming. They'll all be added there once they're all out. But what am I going to score this? Well, as I said, it's difficult for me to find a reliable price in the UK because the listings didn't seem to be all there. It does seem to appear in a bundle with a mouse. Now I should warn you guys that from what I've read, the Aries that is bundled in that mouse keyboard combo doesn't seem to have full customization over all the keyboard colours. It can just do the standard red, green, blue and yellow. If you're not too bothered about, you know, more colours besides that, which to be honest probably none of us are, unless we're going to get super, if we've got loads of lighting around our room that we all want to get everything matched up to, then I don't know. But, you know, if you're happy with that, actually that combo deal is pretty darn good, because you get a gaming mouse with it, I think, for an extra £5. But, as I said, it seems to be retailing at around about £30 or $44 on Amazon US. And so for that price, I think this is a pretty decent keyboard. There's not really much that they need to add to this for entry level. Kind of all the improvements that you would make to this would just take the price up, you know, making it more solid, maybe more macros, perhaps some external output ports at the top there. To be honest, probably my biggest complaint would still be that since using the software for last year, it hasn't really changed, and I remember having a few issues with it then, the Hera software, so I wouldn't mind them spending some time on their software, improving it and just making it a little bit more solid. But overall, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. For its entry-level kind of price, it does all the basic stuff you'll need from a gaming keyboard, plus obviously you can use it as you know, just a regular keyboard. I do like the fact that they still utilise this separate palm rest, because I hate it when you get a laptop with a keyboard with a huge palm rest that you can't remove, and it's just stuck there. But at least with this one, if you don't like it, you just take it off, and then when you're done gaming, you're done using your computer, put it over as a palm rest, and you're all done. Anyway, thanks to Gamdias for sending this over. Don't forget to check out my other reviews. Until next time, ciao for now.